So just as I tried to kind of give Japan some strategies, I guess, or something like that, a war broke out between Russia and Japan over the break. And of course, we all know Russia was the aggressor here, and they are probably actually don't know. Russia has been, kind of beating up a lot of weaker foes. This Japan is strong, even though Japan has stayed quiet, and a lot of their troops are along the Japanese mainland. Japan is still gonna, I think, give Russia a run for her money potentially. Let's see exactly. Obviously, the Japanese alliance decided to join in too. Not sure if this is Manchu. I don't know. I have no idea. Manchukuo, something like that. I don't know. So they're actually off to a pretty good start. Both of these, and most of, if I don't know, I actually could see maybe because a lot of the Russian troops are, well, they're going to come and reinforce now. A lot of them were in the Middle East after just taking over the Uzbek. And then there's a pretty big force going back towards the east. So Russia is going to, I guess it's a smart move. It was a smart move by the Russian AI to stay away from anywhere close to Europe. But man, I don't think they were really prepared when they declared this war initially. 18 sack of peasants. We also need to keep in mind that China has a big role in both of these countries. No matter who wins this, that's a tough loss. Now, does Russia have something? Yeah, they've got extra morale, but look at the Japanese. Way better military tactics and a lot better discipline. Oh my gosh. So, I know that was probably a numbers game. The reason why the Japanese won this battle is probably because of numbers, but the Japanese are going to have, I think, a pretty distinct advantage if they can get off to a quick start. I mean, that 114 sack is going to be tough to beat, though. Now, the Japanese need to bring in troops They need to bring in troops here. I don't know where the transport ships... Oh, I think they are. Maybe they don't have that many transport ships. They're bringing in 42,000. The Japanese alliance is also building up more and more regiments as well. So they'll be going to the battlefront. What are we at? -5 war score with Russia. Japan desperately needs this. Japan needs this to be a successful war. If not, that is going to be a tough loss because, once again, Japan is going to be pretty much irrelevant when it comes to kind of world powers. And I think that they're strong enough to pose a pretty big threat. Anyways, guys, while that war is going on in the background, let's go ahead and check on the ledger. It's been a while. Let's go ahead and look at the developments. Of course, this is my favorite category. So USA is at 69,000. We also have China at 62,000. 6,200, I should be saying. USA is at 6,900. We've got the British. Like I said, look, the British are really strong. I'm telling you, they have a pretty big advantage over the Germans here. A very distinct, an extra maybe like 1,400 development, which is big. And a lot of that, I'm sure, has to do with India. And that will not become independent. The British will stay in control of British India for the rest of this game. So it's going to be tough to stop the British. And the Germans are going to need to just continue to eat away at France and hope for the best. Even Russia's not that far behind from the Germans. I mean, they're about 1,000 development behind, but still, here's Japan. So Japan is still on the list. But this top 5 is exactly what I mentioned in the last video, the top 5 great powers. Then it would be, I'd guess, Japan and Brazil. Did I mention? I think I mentioned all 3 of these, right? All five of these. Italy still has ways to go. Netherlands will probably be destroyed. Mexico's not deciding to do anything, and France is going to continue to lose more and more strength. There's possibilities. I've seen Canada and the USA turn against each other. That's still a possibility. Obviously, that's just going to give more strength to the USA if that ends up happening. Here's the thing, is the USA are not going to change. Like, the development is really not, they're not going to accumulate more in terms of, like, they're not going to attack somebody. The USA is going to just slowly grow at a constant pace. It's not going to be like an exponential growth. Where the Germans, we can see them, just kind of explode up. Same thing for the British, kind of, but it's going to be harder. The Germans can easily grab all this power in Europe, and they could, I think, get that second place spot really quickly. I'm just going to check over development for now, and we'll check over other things later, but I do want to look at, bam, yep, a Russian war broke out with the Germans. So why did it break out? Russia and Greece versus Japan. Okay, we knew about that. This is Germany just being Germany. And I thought it would have broken out because of alliances. No. And Germany called in Montenegro, Yugoslavia, Macedonia. Oh, this is an aggressive, this is a punitive war. China, Italy, Italian, Somaliland. Ouch. But Russia, oh my gosh. But Russia, I forgot about this. Russia's allied to the British, which means all of the British troops are going to come in. But how much are the British really going to help out? Wow. Wow. I don't know if this is World War IV. We could probably call it. I think anything that the British get involved in, anything the British and if the Germans and the British are ever fighting, it's pretty much going to be, I think, a world war. It's safe to say. But this is huge. This is going to be huge for Japan in turn, because if Japan can hold off for long enough, I'm going to need to slow this down. If Japan can hold off for long enough so that the Germans kind of begin, because remember, Russia was bringing all the reinforcements over towards the east, which means that Western Russia is going to be pretty much unoccupied. This is a punitive war, and I'm not as familiar with those casus belli as I am with other things like imperialist wars and fabrications and things like that. But this is a big, big deal. Greece is also involved, which means that Italy might be able to grab their Greek lands, because I know that Italy was desperate for Greek lands, but they didn't want to go to war with the Russians, which is pretty smart. Man, the Russians just kind of went a little bit too overboard, I think. They went a little bit overboard. A lot of the smaller nations in the Balkan region are also involved. Oh yeah, the Russians are not going to be doing too well here. I mean, anyone that gets into like a land-based battle with the Germans, it's not going to go too well. But we'll see. I mean, the Russians are fighting two fronts, and we saw this very early on in this campaign. Russia fighting two fronts against the Koreans and the Germans doesn't go so well. Now, the British are involved. That's one thing that we are, I think, not thinking about here, is that the British are really powerful, which means Iran will be involved. So Iran is going to provide a little bit of support. At the end of the day, though, China is here. And I think that is going to be the difference maker. But then again, China might be distracted. You know what? China is not going to play, I think, a big role in attacking Russia, because China's going to be distracted by British India. I'm willing to bet that they're going to be attacking the south here. So I don't know. This is going to be kind of close. I still think it's going to be kind of close. I mean, there's still 0 war score. And the Russians are only at now -1 with the Japanese. So they're clearly having some success here. Do the Japanese are bringing over pretty much everything they can off of the Japanese mainland. All I want is for Japan to get more power. That's really all I'm kind of hoping for. Ooh, yeah, this is going to be very, very tough. This is going to be very tough for Russia to compete against. But here's the thing. Again, if history repeats itself, at least in this series, then what we might potentially see are the British forces landing in northern Germany and dropping off troops, which forces Germany to run back home and deal with a lot of the British regiments. Italy will be focused on attacking Greece because they really want these lands, which is actually pretty smart. I bet you Greece is going to be separate peace very soon. Laos versus Cambodia. That's kind of cool. Laos is doing okay over Cambodia. Yeah, so they'll probably separate peace Greece soon, which makes things easier, and Italy might gain a whole bunch of extra strength. Turkey's not involved in this war, right? No, they're not. Turkey is just allied to Macedonia and France. And the Russians are pretty much, they've got nothing back this way. Nothing back this way. We might even see the Soviet Union join in. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Where are the Iranis? Are they providing support to the British in British India? Oh my gosh, yeah, here comes China. Now, oh yeah, they are. Iran went to the east to support British India instead of supporting anywhere else. We even have British forces here in Italian Egypt. So I don't think the British are going to really be hit that hard with this war. I think they're going to be okay. This is so crazy. Oh, and the Japanese are losing a lot of their occupations. Why is that? Probably because the AI already had most of its forces going off towards the east, so they decided just to commit to that. They're probably going to try to knock Japan out of this war as early as possible. That way they can focus back on the west. Yeah, that seems to be the thing, because Russia's already at 14 war score. but Germany's at 16. So Russia might gain strength eventually from Japan, but they're going to lose a lot of the really well-developed provinces in Western Russian lands, which is obviously going to be a big problem. I don't even know how they got that war score. Where did they get this from? There's a huge, 100 plus stack of Japanese forces just kind of walking around. And remember, the Japanese had a clear military tactics advantage and a discipline advantage. I don't know how this is happening. Yeah, I don't know. That's strange. I'm not sure if the Japanese, maybe it's the Japanese alliance that's losing a lot. Well, here come the Japanese again with -3 war score. China not as successful as I thought they would be by now. I mean, I know that we're on speed 3, and that definitely kind of messes with my time clock a little bit. The clock, my mind clock, I guess I should say, not my time clock, my mind clock. So sometimes I imagine that things are going to be bigger than they are, faster, occupied by Germany. Oh, Italy is successful so far against British Sudan. Surprised that Nigeria hasn't moved over here and given support, or they might just be kind of trying to gather up some strength. How's Somaliland doing? Somaliland's getting their butt kicked like we saw last time, because British East Africa is a pretty good colony. Rhodesia is involved in the war, as well as Cape Colony. Yeah, I would say this is definitely World War, definitely World War IV, 1983, almost 1984. Uh-oh. We don't have 3 great powers, though, that are constantly at war, but we've got like 5. I mean, maybe. The Germans are somewhat, I don't know. We'll see. Italy really providing a lot of support out this way. I didn't think they would. Oh, did Greece already get pieced out? Yes, they did. And the Italians didn't even take anything. Why did you not take anything? I don't know why you didn't do that. Well, either way, Greece is no longer a threat. If I was Italy, I'd probably be just trying to provide support in Africa. But I guess they wanted to be involved in some of the crazy stuff that goes down here attacking Russia. Watch out for winter. Winter is coming. You gotta watch out for that. And how about the Japanese? How are they doing? -6 war score. So they're doing better slowly. This was a reconquest war that Russia declared. Either way, Japan could try to accumulate their own strength. So surprised that China hasn't taken more. Oh, and Laos took over all of Cambodia. Yep. So there's going to be another interesting war that occurs in Southeast Asia. I like Southeast Asia. I love that all these countries got their own independence. I thought that was very cool. Now I'm trying to imagine what. Oh my gosh, 32 war score. I think it's safe to say that Germany won't take much here. I mean, I don't know, but I'm not anticipating that Germany's going to take a whole bunch. I seriously doubt it, because Germany already has a bunch of aggressive expansion. Oh my goodness, 118 with Hungary. They're still the target of a coalition, in a coalition against Russia. They're the target of a coalition with from Denmark, Iceland, Hungary, Ireland, Poland, Spain, Luxembourg, and Bosnia. So I just can't see them taking anything, right? They can't. Can they? I don't know. Again, I'm not super familiar with punitive wars and what they can do with those casus bellis. But I don't really know what this was an easy war. I don't know. I think Russia might end up being fine. Yeah, they got most of their regiments destroyed. Geez, there's a 76 stack of Germans all the way towards the Caspian Sea. That's pretty deep into Russian territory so far. Did the Russians get their capital occupied? Not yet. Where is it? Novgorod? Novgorod's your capital? Oh, no. It should be Oh, when did you change it to Neva? And why? The development's only 31. Well, I guess Novgorod's... What about... Is it Isn't it usually Moskva? Yeah, Moskva or something like that. Moskva? I don't know. Muscovy? Yeah, I don't know why they did that. That must be because something that probably had to do because Russia formed out of the Soviet Union. I'm guessing that's probably why that ended up happening. Japan's got 10 war score. They might be able to grab a little bit here. Thing is, though, Japan needs to somehow border Mongolia. Then they can attack Mongolia, and obviously they'd have a lot more strength there. They could probably maybe vassalize these guys at some point. They've got really nowhere else to go. I mean, how much does Japan independently have? 12. Okay. So they're at 12, which isn't bad. I mean, does Russia even have regiments over here anymore? Not really. So Japan can pretty much stay in this war and be fine. I'm going to go up to speed 4. Maybe I'll go a little bit faster. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I figured the biggest thing that would result from this was that Italy was going to take over most of Greece, but since Greece was separate pieced without really any consequences, I don't know. They're guaranteed by Turkey, which I don't think is a big threat. I think Italy and Germany could take on Turkey. Turkey only allied to France last time I checked. We've got Venezuela versus Ecuador. Some more Latin American wars. Remember, Venezuela is really feeling the threat from Brazil and down in the south, so that's probably a pretty smart move for them. Jeez. This is crazy. We still have yet to see Germany and Scandinavia actually work together, though. Really want to see that. Latvia is still only allied to Scandinavia. Yeah, I don't know. And I'm also, again, very, very surprised that China hasn't taken over all of India. Maybe China is a little bit overrated. Maybe they're not as strong as we're thinking. I don't know. I don't know what's really happened. I know that they're strong, but I don't think maybe they're not that strong. I don't know. I mean, you never know when it's these big kind of multi-front wars, because the AI gets confused, and the AI doesn't know. They don't necessarily focus on one front. They kind of go back and forth, and they grab a few sieges, and then they can run back. See, that's what they're doing right now. That's exactly what they're doing. So you never really can tell. Ooh, and these well, actually, no. I'm sorry. These are Russian occupations. They're not Chinese occupations. But China does have forces this way. Yeah, so I'm not sure. Negative 17 war score. Germany's got 44 war score. Still, I think Russia's going to be fine. I think Japan might get some land, and that could be the biggest results. Dutch revolutionaries. Ooh, it's a 43 stack. Oh, something is going to pop out of the Dutch colonies in Indonesian lands. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna come back. I think we'll come back by when the peace deal occurs, but we'll see. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.